GSL Season 1.
Welcome back, everybody. Classic Rogue coming your way. One of these two is about to be knocked out. And I don't know. I'm curious how this exactly is going to look. We were talking a little bit on break, but I'll kind of fill everybody in state. You were saying Rogue, he does go for just ending the game fast. Yeah. Doesn't seem to want to do the macro ZVP. I can't say that I blame him.
Yeah, he's been favoring these really aggressive builds. He did it last week in the GSL. He's kind of been doing it this week versus Maru too, playing some quite unique styles, trying to find some timing attack windows, and he's been looking really good. I know that he dropped the first series to Maru, 1-2, but Rogue was so impressive in that first series. I honestly think this guy just keeps getting better and better since he returned from military service, and I'm expecting a banger of a match between these two. A classic, he has been so on point in PvZ lately. And with Rogue playing the kind of games that he is, putting in the work, the prep, the way that he's been doing for these GSL matches too, it's really been paying off.
Okay, Classic, who's been having an incredible run, is up against the ropes right now, is in literally on almost any given year, this would be one of the hardest GSL groups ever.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is insane how tough this is. No disrespect to Group B or anything, but I mean,
it's just crazy.
Can you make a better group than this? I don't know that you can.
Like, wind back the clock to any year in the past 5 or 6 or maybe more.
Yeah, maybe more. Maybe
Classic
like 10,
Cure, yeah. Maru, and Rogue is just an incredible lineup. And unfortunately, one player has to be eliminated. This is going to be the first elimination match here in the group as we're getting ready to go to 10,000 feet in just a minute here for map number 1. But my goodness, it has been a treat to cast these games so far, Tasteless, and I have no expectations for who's going to win this series.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Classic, he hasn't played poorly. Cure, I think, played one of the best days of StarCraft 2 I've ever seen him play. Honestly, Rogue looked really good. Rogue bringing a lot of styles out here. Are we going to have a big range of ZVP play here as well?
I think we might. We was talking about last week how in this preparations now tournament where you have a week between your matches, Rogue is able to use that time to come up with creative builds, specifically tailored to try and deal with his opponent's strategies.
He's going to go for a perfect adept stop with Hydra Infester. Okay, fungal.
Run it back.
Somehow just get it out perfectly where the adepts can't shade at all. I don't know how he's going to get it out that early.
That's a bold prediction, man. Infester's in time for the first adept push.
Betting $1,000.
I'll take that bet.
$1,000 is going to happen.
I'll take that bet, Tasteless.
I'm so confident that's what he's going to do.
I'm down. All right. Well, Classic just making sure he has his phone in position to record his screen. Fancy cheat measures that you have here for online tournaments. I was surprised you pointed this out. I had no idea that's what they were doing.
I think it's what it is.
I think it has to be. I mean, you can see Rogue also right to the side of his shoulder has his phone set up as well. Classic.
He went with vertical instead of horizontal.
Oh, it doesn't bode well.
Or sorry, horizontal instead of vertical. Everyone
Actually,
knows.
They're both horizontal, yeah.
Landscape
photographers.
Landscape photography. I thought it was 2026. I thought it was all set it to vertical. All right, so 1,000 or 10,000 feet, 1,000,000 feet. Why don't you? Classic versus Rogue coming up here. The countdown has started. Classic takes a sip of his tea. Let's get into this game. Remember that the loser is out. The winner goes on to face off against Maru. Oh,
that's going to be a tough match.
It's going to be brutal, man.
Our game is loading in. Let's continue on the round of 8 Group 8 here with the elimination match.
All right, Classic here in the bottom right and Rogue here in the top left.
I'm so curious what kind of games, I should say, we're going to be getting from Rogue, because he has been dishing out some really creative builds this entire GSL. He was doing the same thing in RSL, just playing completely offbeat from what it feels like what the Zerg meta is, making things work that it feels like they shouldn't work.
Yeah.
It's been so refreshing to watch.
I've always enjoyed how he played this. I've always said that, you know, one thing about Rogue is that he's not like watching other Zergs and going, oh, that's what I'll do. Like, he really seems to just kind of know how to think about this game and look at it and approach it the right way.
He has a very unique style of Zerg play. It feels like more than anybody else, in terms of pro players today, Rogue utilizes every single piece of the Zerg arsenal. You know, I mean, we saw Hydra Ling versus Maru. We saw near Pure Muta versus Maru. Roach Ravager and a Swarm Host versus Maru. There have been so many creative builds that Rogue has gone for just today.
Yeah. But now we go into PvZ here. A very different matchup. You can even see, by the way, that it's funny because the probe came at a weird angle, and I was wondering for a second, I'm like, would you ever hide a pylon there? And then we saw the drone actually run up there and just check, like, wait a minute, just in case. Okay, there's nothing there. How many games have we had? I think I've had 2 games in my life that I've casted where someone just makes a pylon in the main, and then way later on, stuff warps in. I think it was Huck one game and Parting another game.
Of course it would be Huck and Parting.
Yeah.
It's the most obvious 2 players ever to do that.
You can tell I'm not lying.
For Huck probably did on Metalopolis behind the little box screen in the main base. Yeah, you don't see it too often. That was all the rage back in 2010, 2011. People loved hiding pylons at the base.
Well, it's one of those dirty plays when you figure it out, you go, oh, this feels so good when it wins. Yeah. But it's one of those things that gets weeded out. You get high enough in the ladder, you're like, you can't do this anymore.
Well, also, main bases are just constructed differently now. Like the map makers, it feels like they don't usually have a spot like on 10,000 feet where you can hide something like that. It feels like every main base, maybe not every main base, but it seems like they're almost cut and paste in terms of the size and the general dimensions.
Right.
You know? I would like to see a little bit more variance, but it can be tricky to balance with things like Blink.
I think what happened is like we had too much craziness in any RTS game, like over time. Oh, nice surround here. In any RTS game, if given enough time, they tend to figure out basically what's fair, but then it tends to lean too much into fair and kind of generic and formulaic and boilerplate, and that's when you got to get map makers to kind of test what we can do, you know.
Yeah, it's complicated to find a balance.
Right.
I don't envy map makers. Their job seems very
Well, here's
difficult.
what's funny is, like, if I ladder, I don't want to play on new maps either. Or weird maps. I go, no, this is not what I know, at least the maps that I know. You know, I don't want to put myself out there.
I'm the same way.
If pro gamers had their way, the maps would be very, very formulaic. And there's been periods they really have had their way, and the maps were very much, played out. But I think it's always important for a tournament to kind of have the balancing act of meeting the needs of both while keeping it fresh.
All right, well, the first Oracle is out on the map here for Classic, and with no third hatchery even done yet for Rogue, he's going for another, effectively, 2-hatch opening here. Oracle's just going to come back home. No damage to be found on Rogue's side of the map. And it's interesting to me that Rogue goes for this approach in CVP as well. He's so conservative and relatively low drone count, too, across all of his games. In every single matchup, it's a lot of fun to watch. So we'll find an angle to get a couple of drone kills, plus not the Spore Crawler, the Creep Tumor. So some nice harassment here for Classic, but in total, 2 drones for 2 Oracles. I think you're expecting to get a little bit more done.
+1 melee attack is coming here. We've got some more gateways going down here. And, it's a little bit hard to see for now what Protoss wants to do, other than probably power up and push. Blink is, it's kind of the go-to tech here. He does, with the 2 Oracles, have the opportunity to kind of do that style we know Hero likes to do. I think Hero really kind of made that his style of play, but everybody kind of does it now.
4 more gateways in production. Going to be a lot of Blink Stalkers on the map. We might have even seen another Oracle in production as well. So likely going to be a lot of pressure coming out from Classic in just a few moments. And oh, look at this Subcity, even walling off. He knows that nothing is safe versus Rogue. That mineral wall could get mined out. You never know what kind of tricks that Rogue has up his sleeve.
Okay, now he's going to clear this Overlord out here. And Ro going on to 5 bases.
Yeah, so this tells me that he is going to want to play basically pure Ling here. He needs as much larva as possible because there's no earthly way that Rogue is going to be able to saturate all of these bases with drones. This is largely going to be for the larva, for the production capacity of all these extra expansions. And +1 melee Lings, it can do very well here against Blink Stalkers, but with 3 or 4 Oracles accompanying, I wonder if he's being able to find the angle.
So you want to make sure you don't overextend here, which is pretty easy to not do because you've got the Blink available to you. You're going to keep teching up. You're ready for the counterattacks. And see what you can shave off. But you are not, I don't know. Does he actually know about the top right base or not?
I don't think he knows yet.
Okay. That was so good. He should at least detonate 1 to kill some of those probes there. There was actually some that he could have gotten. The Lings are going to come in here for somewhat of a surround. He's going to just try to go over here. Another perfect block. And again, oh my God, Classic's defense is so good.
That was perfect. The Blink, the Stalkers being warped in to block the Banelings was just the perfect move coming in from Classic. And you can see why Rogue didn't detonate everything on the first Stalker to try and get into the mineral line, because the Stalker doesn't take any bonus damage from the Banelings. It took every single Baneling to finally dispatch that Stalker in the natural wall in, and Classic able to parry what was a quite committed counterattack coming in from Rogue with effectively no losses.
Okay, so he's going to take this 4th base. And we're getting into some real powering over here. You are 100% right, State. It's going to be a lot of Lings here. I love this little attack in. Forces a cancel. Can Classic do enough damage to take this base out? Queens are going to come down. Lings are spreading. Now, the combination of the Stalkers and the Oracles, it's very hard for Lings to do a whole lot because you blink away, the Oracles melt everything. We see him thinking of aggressing further because he's going to go ahead and tag these units up here as well.
Yeah, the addition of Archons and Zealots complicates things further here for Rogue. He's going to lose that hatchery. Luckily, he still has the top right base, so Rogue should be doing fine economically back at home. Losing that 1 hatchery shouldn't be too disruptive, but the issue is that Classic has just been so cost-effective up until this point. He's had full 3-base saturation. It feels like he hasn't really lost any critical pieces, maybe 1 or 2 Stalkers in total. And he's cleaned up so many Lings. He's taken out an expansion. He deflected the Baneling attack earlier on. Classic hasn't missed a single beat so far in this game defensively, and he's also been able to disrupt the economy here of Rogue. And so I'm wondering where Rogue is going to try and take the game from here, because Classic's army just keeps getting better, especially now with +1 ground weapons done. He's going to be able to 2-shot these Zerglings with his Zealots. So many more Archons are also joining forces. It looks like it will be a Lurker transition coming in for Rogue.
Yeah, he could try to hit before the Lurker transition really starts up.
I think it might be a little bit too slow.
Yeah, he's going to go for the non-creeped up side. Probably the right way to attack. There's a lot of Banes over here. And it's all about, how much damage can the Banes do and what can they clear for the next round of supply to come in here and fight. So he's going to fraction off the Zealots because they're useless if there's just many Banes. He's going to have just Archon and then Stalker because, if you can blink away with the Stalkers, you can basically use the Archons to kind of tank this. The Archons are doing a fantastic job. Look at that. Oh, my God.
Not a single Archon falling, and at the same time, Classic attacking into the natural expansion and the potential 5th base here for Rogue with some Zealots. Just causing as many disruptions as possible. I can't believe not a single Archon was taken out in that engagement. Rogue was able to buy enough time to get the Hive done as well as the Lurker done, so he should be able to get those critical Hive tech upgrades for the Lurkers up pretty soon, but it's still a very concerning position. Classic, he hasn't been disrupted at all economically on his side of the map. He's been able to secure 4 bases. I'm sure he's going to be taking a 5th base relatively quickly. And his army composition is looking stronger than ever. He still has those 5 Archons. He's adding in a ton of Templar with Storms now, too.
You got to fight here. You're going to recall those? Okay. Remember, you don't have a recall later on. He's going to come in this way. And War Prism is going to be chased out. There's enough spores you can't really get in there. Not with the Queens, too. I love the gooping there on the Forge. Slow that down a little bit.
And Classic's continuing to power up. He's very intentionally staying under 200 supply right now because he wants to get a mothership out on the field.
Right.
Fleet Beacon's about halfway done now.
Nidus Worm. And there is an Overlord in the bottom center.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Yeah. I always feel like we should have players check for this every game. Because, like, you know, eventually this is a way that you can just lose, right? I mean, most players are pretty good at stopping it, but especially when you max out, if you can't warp something in, goodbye.
Classic already 195 supply now. I think he wants to trade out a couple of these units. He doesn't have quite enough free to build a mothership, so just going to start at the Tempest instead. Oracle's making sure that the 5th base can get up uncontested here, bottom right side of the map. Classic is keeping Rogue contained. It's hard for Classic to push in.
Dude.
And look at the Nidus. You were exactly right, Stasis. I think this is actually out of vision of Classic.
Yeah, it is.
Rogue is causing a disruption right now. He's going into the 3rd base of Classic, trying to distract from the Nidus in the main base, and now the Lurkers are in the main.
Oh my god. Almost 20 probe kills. It's going to be so hard to get in here. Did the recall, does he have that available now? He's going to then just trickle links in through here. The Immortals are coming up.
Oh, you can't
my
go up that
god,
ramp.
You can't, yeah.
You cannot go up that ramp.
No.
The Archon's taking so much damage, and even the Hydralisk getting in here, making things complicated for the Tempest to try and clean this up.
Dude, Rogue is such a strategic genius.
Everything was going Classic's way, and then Rogue with one move.
I take it back. Artie was right. He is the GOAT. I concede.
Classic is going to full send on the Rogue side of the map because he cannot defend the main base anymore.
Yeah.
He's identified the situation. He knows that this is not salvageable.
Thing is, you can kill and hollow out the main and then just like go back through the Nidus and defend.
That's exactly what he's doing. A lot of Lurkers already here. They're going to get in the siege position at the top of this ramp. I think this base certainly is going to fall, but Rogue can mitigate the damage. Keep in mind, Storm now, it lasts a lot longer than it used to. The DPS is lower, but overall the damage output is higher, so 2 Storms can take out one of these Lurkers.
Oh my god, the Hydras are going to come in here and just take the Tempest out as well. Now, I think if you're Rogue, you're okay sacking a base or 2. So Classic's going to go back. Now, the issue is Classic has to remake like 15 gateways and the rest of his infrastructure, right? So he's at 145 supply. He can't make more right now. Does he have the gateways anywhere?
I think it's just these 2 and the 2 of the natural expansion, but those are empowered, I believe. I'm actually shocked that Classic hasn't started a mothership yet. I feel like that's the one thing that you could really invest these resources well with. You still have the fleet beacon up, just queue it up at one of these Nexus. Seems like Classic will be able to stabilize in the main base. Oh, +1 air weapons, 1 second left, it gets depowered. These Lurkers are just such an issue here for Classic. He's gonna go for another engagement here at the central base of Rogue. Storms are really good for Classic.
Yeah.
Not enough Lurkers here for Rogue.
I mean, at the end of the day, Classic's army is scary. It is hard to fight, especially in a boxy area like this one.
Rogue with only 5 Lurkers on the field right now. His standing army is actually very small. The Storms keep getting so much damage done. I think Classic might be turning this around.
Yeah, that's exactly my thoughts. Like, it seems like, it's like, wait a minute. He's getting in there. He's doing some damage. Apparently, he can warp in 2 Zealots. He's got that going for him.
He's building 2 more gateways.
It's not 0 gateways.
Soon it'll be 4.
Yeah. Soon it'll be able to wake enough to put them all on a warp prism and fly back out if it doesn't work out.
All right, so things are calming down a little bit now. We can take inventory of what we've got. On Rogue's side of the map, he's retaking the base in the top right. He has 4 mining bases right now. The main and the natural, they are mostly mined out. Classic, he is starting the mothership finally at the central location. The base just to the north of his main base has finished up and is now getting saturated. So it's more mining bases for Rogue, but I think Classic, the bases that he has mining are a little bit more fresh. So the mineral income, it's relatively even right now. Worker count's also quite close. A 13 worker advantage here for Rogue. It's odd how things have balanced out in a way. But for Rogue, the problems, they're quite complicated to solve. There's a healthy number of Tempests because that's really been the only production that Classic has had up, is the Stargates for a long period of time. There's 5 Tempests and not really an answer to them. The ground army for Rogue in a head-on engagement is still better than Classic's just because of the lurker count that he's got, but the Tempests are going to be a significant issue.
Yeah, I mean, he can push here, and I don't know that Zerg really has a great answer. I guess he does have the Corruptors, but how many does he have? He's got 9. 9 is, I don't know if it's enough to burst all this down.
It might be, but with the Archons, the Stonkers under the Tempest,
Yeah.
you can't dive on top of it,
Corruptor
right?
range is pretty bad, honestly. Like, they have to get, like, right up, get their nose right up to the fight in order to do any damage. So I think, yeah, Classic should just kind of rotate to the center left, poke there, go back up around to the top right, and poke there.
Mothership is done, by the way. It's now roaming its way through the center of the map, trying to meet up with this army.
4 carriers.
Oh, he actually allowed +1 air weapons to finish, too. And he's banking Tempest.
Yeah.
Huh. I think he just doesn't want Rogue to commit more resources to anti-air.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think he knows now.
Oh, that was a recall, I believe. I mean, the Oracles are also there, right? So.
Oh, never mind. You're right.
Yeah, Rogue might still not have the full picture that this is effectively a Skytoss transition.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
Classic.
if you've underproduced, the only thing he has to fight there is like a couple of Corruptors, but I think there's the same number of Tempests as there are Corruptors right now. So that's not going to cut it.
Yeah, there's a significant lack of information right now for Rogue, partly because his army is just so immobile. He's even adding Ultralisk, so he's very much focused on dealing with the army on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, Ultralisk is absolutely the wrong answer here.
If he's able to smother the army on the ground, he should have enough anti-air to actually deal with the Tempest, but I think it's all going to come down to the engagements. The Time Warp going to be crucial here for Classic as well. All right, Rogue, he's setting it in. Oh, it's a full surround right now for Rogue. The Lurker's going to try and find the connection. Cloak coming in. We do have Overseers to detect. The Storms are making it very difficult for Rogue to actually collapse on this position. And so Classic buying some much-needed time. Look at how injured all these units are right now for Rogue.
I mean, very bruised right now. It does seem like Rogue is a bit paralyzed. And he's been paralyzed since this honestly successful Nidus push here. Like, the comp is kind of here. Now, remember, this is not like a very mobile army, so like if he just goes down here and murders this, it's going to be more kills here. Again, the Tempests are going to be very good right now. This is an execution. This is a firing squad here.
Rogue is going to try and find some compensation for this trade by
He has
attacking
no
at the bottom
observer.
right.
He just, that's insane. He only has Oracles to tag? Okay.
I guess you have this many Oracles.
Yeah,
as long
I guess
as you
it's
keep them
fine.
alive.
In my mind, I see an army that big, I'm like, he's got one observer there for sure.
I think the Robo might have gotten taken out.
Yeah, I think it was never remade either.
Oh, yeah, he does have 3. I wonder what they're observing then, because I don't see any with
I don't
this
see him in the army.
Oh, there's one.
Oh, okay.
It's parked back at home. In any case, Classic does have the detection that he needs, and he's been doing a pretty good job of keeping Rogue under control, and now both armies are maxed, so they're not going to get much better than they are already.
Right.
I still think it's quite even. The problem is that Rogue can't... It's hard for him to actually take the fight that he wants to take, the fight that he needs to take to try and trade closely with Classic's army. Okay, Abduction's coming in. Corruptor should be able to take on both of these Tempests. That was a very good move by Rogue. It's wild that the game has continued on as long as it had after
I know,
that
it's such a weird game. It's so different feeling from that little rush that happened. Rogue's going to come in here and try to hit. The problem is I think that Zerg doesn't know if he can touch Protoss without his stuff melting.
Yeah, the Storm as a zoning tool plus Time Warp really complicates things for Rogue. Especially because Classic has been roaming around the map so much that the creep spread is, you know, the moment a Rogue is able to get some creep spread on the field, it just dissipates.
Yeah, well,
you don't have any mobility.
It's like a lawnmower on the map, just mowing the grass. And, so he takes his base out, but I don't know how consequential that is because Protoss can just grow somewhere else. And Zerg's basically running out of room to be anywhere on the map. What is on the far left?
I think that might be, is that the Corruptors? The speed they're moving makes me think it's all the Corruptors. Yeah, it's all the Corruptors. Classic just he's struggling to get these upgrades to finish. First it was +1 air weapons at 1 second left.
He should get the Tempest to just poke out this base in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's kind of like, he's treating this like he has to get his whole ground army there. You actually have Tempest. You can just chuck a few shots across the map and pop this.
He tried it earlier and he lost 2 Tempests to Abducts. I think he's just a little bit timid about trying it again. Rogue's been doing a pretty good job of keeping this squadron of Corruptors and Vipers here in the center of the map as a zoning tool for those Tempests. Classic has just been struggling to get the final shots, and Classic now with the bottom left base established, his income is really starting to rise again. It was pretty frugal times. There was a lot of austerity on both sides for the last couple of minutes. Both Classic and Rogue had poor saturation on all these expansions as they were forced to leave their richest bases, trade everything out, but Classic has now been able to accumulate a pretty significant gas bank. I mean, if he trades out some of these gateway units, 4 Stonkers, the Zealot, he loses some more workers, he could warp in a ton more Archons with this army.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, he can come up here and just poke this base out again. I think it might be time for him to try a full-on push through the middle. This is not as well entrenched anymore. Oh. And he's going to actually go for a recall up into the main, so I think he's trying to bait him up there. Here we go! Recall
There's the
time.
recall. Rogue scrambling to get up. Time warp on the ramp. Ultras don't care about it, but everything else does here for the Zerg.
Yeah. And I don't know how much Ultras are going to do anything in a game like this. There's so many Archons up here. Oh my god, I think if he can pull this off, he's going to win. There are so many Corruptors, though.
Rogue pushing in right now. This is everything that Rogue has got. There's no big behind this. He has to win with this army right now. And it seems like he's able to take out all the Skytoss fleet. The supply is still very even. About as good a trade as Rogue could possibly hope for in the main base.
There were not enough Archons underneath where the Corruptors were.
I mean, that was a fantastic fight for Rogue. The problem is that Classic's bank is so much more significant that Rogue can't recharge. He cannot replenish the army that he made. He's making 3 more Ultras, 3 more Infestors, and after that, there's basically no money left. So he needs to get something done with this army right now. And Classic, he might be sitting on 130 supply. I think he's still mulling over the possibilities of what to remax with because he knows he has one more shot. He can recharge the army one more time, and that's basically it. Right. He has 1 mining base in the bottom left. Every other base is basically devoid of minerals. And oh, look at this. Your lurkers might be cloaked. My
Remember
DTs
these units?
too. We need an observer, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
here he goes.
It's hustling. Oh, it's a shame we don't have an overseer right now for Rogue.
Yeah. Oh my god.
He's going to clean up absolutely everything. These are losses that Rogue cannot afford. Every lurker is so valuable right now.
Okay, he sees it. Oh my god, he's going to try to run. Nope. Oh, I thought he could have maybe got the hit off there.
Oh, the observer got taken out.
Oh, never mind.
It's just 1 lurker right now.
1 lurker in a dream.
He's got to snipe the observers again if he wants. Going to go for the carriers first, but the Corruptors are so low on HP. Classic just has a little bit too much money in the bank.
What
GG
a game.
is called.
I really enjoyed that.
Oh.
Kind of a different flavor of game.
What a roller coaster.
But it was interesting because, like, I thought Rogue wins when he gets the lurkers in the main. I'm like, this is so bad. But it's funny because the army's finished being made. It's like you still don't have a solution for that. It's just so hard. And this has been some of the complaints some people have had about, you know, where Protoss is at right now. It's just like people don't know how to engage that as Zerg. It's so hard to get in there and hit that. And what is the play exactly for that? And I think Classic played it to its strength.
Yeah, just using the storms as a zoning tool and the time warp. I think back to the attack in the top right corner of the map where Rogue was maxed, Classic was maxed, and Rogue went for nearly a full surround on Classic. And Classic throws down 4 or 5 storms. The Hydras, they cannot sustain all the way through those storms. So Rogue has to pull back on the top side. Then the time warp on the bottom left side means that Rogue can't push through that either. And Rogue was charged up with 1 potential fight. Classic with his spellcasting, with his maxed out army and all the tools at its disposal, was able to prevent Rogue from taking the fight that he needed. Now we're going to go to match point. Game number 2. Classic in the bottom right, Rogue in the top left. Classic leading the series 1-0 on Ruby Rock.
Okay, good luck, Rogue. I'm not sure what he's going to show here, but it's going to be whatever the best ZVP he can muster is.
Yeah, the early game was pretty rough there for Rogue. Thinking back to game number 1, everything was going Classic's way. Rogue kept trying to go for these counterattacks, kept trying to get some damage in, and Classic had an answer for absolutely everything. It wasn't until we had a Nidus in a blind spot in the main base of Classic that Rogue actually kind of got onto equal footing with the Protoss.
So, you know, one thing about and this is not just true for StarCraft, it's true for a lot of RTS games, is sometimes one race really needs to win at a certain moment in the game, and the other race doesn't. And, StarCraft 2, it's been patched so many times, so the matchups really do change constantly. But I'm going to use StarCraft 1 as an example here just because that wasn't patched, and so it's been consistent. 27 years of roughly games that look like this. But as an example, in a TVZ in StarCraft 1, the Terran tends to win in the middle of the game. Same thing with a TVP, because Terran has to push. In a ZVP, sorry, PVZ I should say, Protoss wins in the mid game because the Protoss has to push, which means Zerg tend to win either before or after that, right? They win in the late game a lot of times. And I think people are used to seeing Zerg win in the late game in StarCraft 2. But I think what's happened in the matchup now, and again, patches come out, things change, and races become stronger or weaker at various points in the game, is I think Protoss might be in some ways kind of like the Zergy race in the late game, in that they are going to get an army that you might not be able to kill, right? And so that means the matchup for now may be one that Zerg really has to figure out how to kill Protoss before they get too big, which can be uncomfortable for, I think, a lot of Zerg players that are used to the matchup feeling a certain way or being a certain way. What do you think, State?
I agree with you. I think the important thing, if you want to try and play a late game as Zerg, is that you get to your late game composition before the Protoss is able to. And that means that you need to have a better early game or a mid game than the Protoss more often than not. It means you need to be able to outgreed them. You need to be able to deal with all the oracles. There are a lot of things that need to happen for Zerg to be in a position where it feels like their army is scaling better than the Protoss army is.
Right.
And even Rogue, I mean, the early game wasn't fantastic for Rogue there in the previous match, but you could see it with the Lurker push into the main base. The Tempest kind of put a timer on that, and it was a long timer because there were only a couple of them on the field. Rogue was able to take out the natural expansion, most of the probes there. He was able to take out nearly all of the infrastructure in the main base as well. But Classic had already navigated his way to an army composition that was just such a pain to deal with for Rogue. And whenever Protoss gets in that kind of position where they're able to train out all of the low-cost, low-value units such as Zealots, such as Stalkers, for basically pure Skytoss, Archon, Templar, and a Mothership, it is a near impossible situation for Zerg to overcome that unless they get the fight of their dreams. And I think even if they go for the fight of their dreams, it almost feels like Protoss needs to have a misstep. So for Zerg to succeed, it seems like they need to get an advantage before that point.
Yeah.
But it's very tricky. It's exactly what you said. It seems like the late game right now for Protoss, it's a little too troubling for Zerg to deal with.
And it also seems like, like what Rogue did in the last game, I thought was really smart. I mean, he basically pulled his strategy off, right? He had the Ninja Nidus pop up, right? He did it right when the Protoss was maxed out. So there wasn't, really a moment to warp in Zealots to get it. Even then, the Nidus was well hidden enough. Wasn't a whole lot that, Rogue could do to stop, or sorry, Classic could do to stop it. And, Classic had his whole main hollowed out. Okay, so we got a Ling attack over here, and with no Oracle to defend this is going to be forced to cancel.
Yeah, surprised that Classic didn't leave at least one Oracle back right now. He's going to warp in some Adepts, but eventually this will be canceled.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why there weren't Adepts there to begin with.
Yeah, they're here.
Oh, that's
Rogue
why,
just was able to skirt around the edges of the map, I suppose. Classic didn't catch it. Rogue trying to go back in and get another cancel. And the Oracles are pretty low on energy right now. See, Classic just charges one up. It's about to run out of energy. It just did. Some nice moves coming out by Rogue, and he follows it up with 10 more drones in production. These are the kind of early game wins that Rogue needs, that Zerg needs to build up some momentum heading into the mid and the late game. I mean, already Classic's build, it's got a wrench thrown in the works. Things have not gone to plan.
Okay, so he's going to try to clear out this Overlord. Rogue's continuing to grow out. We've got Blink halfway done. More Oracles. This looks like it's probably going to be the Stalker Blink stuff we saw in the last game. I think with Classic, you don't need to do anything different or special here. I don't know why you would. I mean, basically, the mid-late game, I guess, backfired horribly for Classic, and he's still Was there something that popped up on screen over Classic's face for a second? Did you see that?
Oh, I was looking at the oracles.
I don't know what happened. It almost looked like he had
like a filter or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like cat ears were on his head. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was some Discord thing. I don't know. Anyways,
I gotta go back and watch the VOD after
I don't know. Maybe I'm hallucinating, and you guys are watching the first thing that went wrong in my brain before I went insane and ended up in a mental asylum just a year later. It started here. So, Masslings. And, you know, Protoss is moving out. Nice blink over here to actually shave off a couple more of these lings. There is charge coming up behind this, by the way.
Got some nice moves coming up by Classic.
So
Rogue.
This might be a very different game.
Rogue trying to go into Hydralix behind all of this. Hydralix done, nearly done. 10 more lings in production. We might have a critical mass of Stalkers, though. This is a difficult position. Oh, look at the choke point right now. It's like a force field that doesn't expire. All those lings just choking up the position, making it so hard for Rogue to get a surround on the Stalkers.
Right now, Rogue's just trying to trigger each of these stuns so that he can actually come in there and assert himself.
Oh, and another stun comes in on every single stalk, or on every single ling, excuse me. And I love the move there by Classic. He drops a stasis ward and then he blinks on top of it, knowing that if Rogue goes for the surround on this, the stasis ward puts a timer on it. You have to disengage with the lings, otherwise every single one will be trapped in stasis. And Classic has been able to use this ability to trade quite effectively, but finally for Rogue, most of the lings, they are out of stasis. I think he's had enough time with his production cycles to get the Hydralisks on the board, and so Classic, I believe, would be wise to pull back for now, but it looks like he might be gearing up for another attack with all these charge zealots joining in. No +1 ground weapons, so they are going to 3-shot the lings instead of 2-shot.
Yeah, interesting. He's going to come in now. It is a lot of Hydras, so the Zealots are going to be pretty handy here. The counterattack is looking pretty good. Let's see what he can do with this warping of Zealots. Again, no +1.
Shield Battery is going to help this a lot for Classic, especially fighting in such a narrow point. Zergling's really struggled to get a surround on all those Zealots. Unusual to see a charge transition take this shape. Usually you would see the first waves of Zealots try and snipe a base like in the bottom left, but it seemed like Classic was trying to set up for one big push with a bunch of unupgraded charge Zealots, unupgraded with no +1 ground weapons, I mean, and just overwhelm the Hydras.
Yeah, well, if you have nothing but Hydras, I think the charge lots are pretty good with the Stalkers,
right?
For
sure. I mean, you blink on top of them, too. The Zealots are just naturally going to be in the front. So synergy you don't see very often in PBZ, but unfortunately that window is passed, so Classic instead is going to be trying to distract Rogue to the best of his ability here by pressuring through triangle expansion while hitting the bottom left with all of these Zealots, and that hatchery is definitely going down.
Yeah, and he's got Psystorm ready over here. It's going to be very hard to fight this. Hydras are going to come from all these different angles, but gosh, there is so much. Does he have, oh, he does have a Warp Prism right over here, but he's not pulling it back.
Maybe one more Storm. I think the last Storm gets utilized right now for Classic, and Rogue's been able to surround this army. Stasis will trap 4 Hydras, but
Warp Prism's just like still here, by the way.
That was a nice move by Rogue. He was able to win that fight, but these Zealots are still unanswered here on the 9 o'clock base.
So, you know, it's still 4 base to 4 base. What a weird game. What an odd game from Classic specifically.
Yeah, the Zealot transition kind of...
I feel like Rogue's gonna have a much smoother game from here.
Well, yeah, there's no Forge upgrades for Classic still. He has gone into Storm, so it makes sense. You don't need the Forge upgrades quite as much when you have Storm as DPS. So he will add in the Forge now, just a little bit later. And I think for Classic, you should just try and hold on to the 4 bases that you've got and go for a Sky Toss transition right now, because his army is not very impressive. He does have a lot of Zealots, but again, without +1 ground weapons, they're mostly going to find their utility and their value in counterattacks, not these head-on engagements versus Lurkers and Hydras.
Tempests in pairs are going to come. And, you know, Rogue, I mean, he's going to max out. It's probably going to be his turn to try to do something. We were talking about, you know, maybe the play is to have some kind of style where you can prevent Protoss from getting too big to fail, or an army that's too big to confront.
Yeah, it's important for Zerg to hit their late game power spike before the Protoss does, I think. And Rogue, it seems like he might be on a trajectory to do this. Classic's army is not very well refined. He's got some Storm, he's got 2 Tempests on the field, but still no Mothership. Still only 4 bases. It's really just a lot of low-tech gateway units. It's the Zealots and Stalkers that are forming the brunt of Classic's force.
Okay, we got big movement down here at the bottom towards 6 o'clock. Rogue also expanding to the left side of this, as well as taking 12 o'clock.
Classic's in the center of the map. If Rogue attacks a triangle expansion right now, could put Classic in a very precarious position.
At least force a recall. I mean, there's really not a lot to defend over here. We saw one Templar. He's going to move back. He actually clicked his army back in a way where they're going to have to go in 2 different directions. The Lings are going to come in here. I don't think the Protoss can save this. Oh, nice move here with the Zealots hitting this bottom left base.
Classic's going to go for the counterattack, and I think it's a smart move by him, not to try and engage on those lurkers instead. Just pull everything back, let the Tempest slowly chip away at them.
Can he actually kill his hatchery in time? I think he can. Nicely done.
Hatch gets taken down. 2 more Tempest in production. Mothership nearly done for Classic. And he can resaturate this 4th base. Seems like as far as Classic is concerned, 4 bases is all he needs right now. Just to get up to at least enough Sky Toss that he's safe versus any sort of high-tech lurker play.
Okay. Classic is still turtled up, and he's done producing, right? He's got 6 Tempest. I think there's 2 more coming, so he has to move out. Here he goes now. And Zerg can start to counterattack. I think what you got to do with Zerg is just keep counterattacking, almost never fight this army, keep hitting them, do a Nidus again, but also have all the counterattacks everywhere.
You say it like that, it sounds easy.
Yeah. You see, I got to figure it out.
Just be everywhere.
Be everywhere all at once.
Classic, he's itching for a fight. He wants to trade out all these Zealots and Stalkers right now. That is so much supply that has caught up in these units, which aren't going to scale very well into the late game. So Classic, he's going to do his best to trade out these Zealots and Stalkers as cost efficiently as possible. Rogue coming in from the top side. Storms heavy on the Lurkers and the Hydra.
Oh
a follow-up one is going to force those Lurkers to get out of the way.
Here we go. Following Taste's advice, being everywhere at once.
Rogue should be able to take down at least 1 expansion, but the army back at home is a little bit lackluster for Rogue, and a lot of Overlords have fallen Tasteless. He doesn't have the minerals. Rogue does not have the minerals to remax. He has to spend them on 8 Overlords right now.
Oh my God, you're right. I wasn't even noticing how many Overlords are killed there. I think you could make, okay,
Oh.
Never mind. I don't even get to say it. I was going to say you could make just a move straight down from here, slice off that part of the map. Discord call closed.
Wow. Classic with a pretty convincing 2-0 win there over Rogue. He's going to meet Maru in the final series of the day. And for me, my heart breaks a little bit for Rogue. I feel like Rogue played very well today. It was a tough series versus Maru. It was a tough series versus Classic.
But Classic played weller.
Yeah, he did.
He did play a lot weller. And that's what they say. The guy who played weller wins.
You're amazing, Tasteless.
No, I'm not. I am a cheap hack. All right, guys, we got a break. Coming up next, the final match of the night, Classic versus Maru.